Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sammy Ketchum, and welcome back to Sammy Ketchum TCG. Today, we are going to be looking at a Chien-Pao deck list. This deck list is going to be just a little different than what you've been seeing. This deck list does not have Palkia V-Star in it, nor does it have Arceus V-Star in it either. It doesn't have Arceus, it doesn't have Palkia in it. But with it still, of course, it still has Baxcalibur. But this deck list has been kind of fine-tuned for it to run really well with what it has. So I'm going to show you how, or one of the ways that I'm running it right now. One of the things that I'm trying out, and it's actually working really, really well. So I'm going to show that off in this video. Yeah, I'm speaking kind of low today. I'm not in like my high voice because it's the morning time and my friends are sleeping right now. So I don't want to disturb them with like music and all of that. Kind of do it like this. All right. You got 3 copies of Chien-Pao EX. All right. It has the Shivery Chill ability, allowing you to get 2 water energies from your deck and add it into your hand when it's in the active spot. And the Hellblade is basically just like Raichu GX, except with water energies. 60 for each water energy you discard from your field or from all your Pokemon. So that's why they usually kind of say like Chien-Pao is kind of like the Miraidon of Paldea Evolved, because Chien-Pao has the same attack, you know. And we have a 403 Baxcalibur line. The reason I have 4 is because like usually a lot of people would go 3/3 Baxcalibur and go 3 rare candy. The reason why I went with 4 is because with this deck, not just with this deck, honestly, with like any deck, like if you don't have Palkia in the deck, you should be running 4 Frigibacks. If you're not running Palkia, you should be running 4 Frigibacks, and your main goal is to getting out 2 Frigibacks at all times. You should have 2 Frigibacks on the field at all times. One should be a Baxcalibur, and then the other one should be a Frigibax sitting on the bench waiting to become a Baxcalibur. That way, when they boss up this Baxcalibur and knock it out, you still have 1 left. And then on your next turn, you can find a way to get the other rare candy or the other Baxcalibur if you don't already have it in your hand. Evolve this, and you keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean? And then in that same turn, you also put down another Frigibax. That way, now they get the picture. You're not going to go down on the Baxcalibur. They have to basically knock out your big they have to knock out your Chien-Pao or your attacker, or they're just going to get steamrolled. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This this literally makes sure you don't get hurt because you don't have out a max caliber. You don't have a way to get out of max caliber. This maximizes that a lot better than a 3-3 line. All right, 2-2 barrel line. Not a 1-1, a 2-2. All right, you got to have a 2-2 barrel line. I can't stress this enough. Like I was literally watching NAIC, and players were getting bodied on stream because they didn't have out their barrel line, and they were getting judge locked, path locked, iono locked, and they had no way to get out of it because they didn't have that barrel out. They only had one barrel in the deck. Their one barrel was prized. I mean, I'm literally watching them on stream, on the freaking official channel, and they are getting bodied because they don't have their stuff out. They don't have, like, you have a 2-2 barrel line. Now, if one of these gets prized, one of the pieces gets prized, you always have another one. You have a way to get it out. Something happens where you discard one or have to discard this or something, you have another one. You gotta have that. You gotta have that. And then I saw a deck with a 1-1 barrel and then a 1-1 Arceus V-Star. Honestly, in my opinion, I would rather have 2-2 per barrel than a 1-1 of each, because with that Arceus V-Star, you're not getting it out all the time. You're not getting it out all the time. It's basically just kind of like a Hail Mary, kind of like a miracle play where you go find your 2 cards for 1 turn. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of get that little kill shot win condition. Whereas now I have consistency in having, decent draw for the turn, and you can also get the pieces, more of the pieces that you actually need to play the game. You get out of Iono lock, you get out of the judge lock, So I just think that is just a lot better than having like a 1-1 line. One copy of Squawkabilly EX. Squawkabilly EX. I recently just added him in here the other night. Well, actually last night. I've been playing with this on PTCG Live, and man, let me tell you, this changes how this deck goes first. Because honestly, going first with this deck sucks. It really, really sucks. If you do not have an opening Battle VIP pass already in your hand and a way to set up your board, you're literally going to lose. Because you're going first, you have an advantage that you can be attacking by your second turn. But even with 4 Battle VIP pass in your deck, you're not guaranteed to get that setup that you need going first. Also, going first, you can't do the Irida Battle VIP pass play because you can't play a supporter. So you can't do that on your first turn. And so that really kind of just limits you to what you could do and what you can find. So if you have a way to get out the Squawkabilly, like a nest ball or something, or you already go into it or anything, or Ultra Ball, and your hand sucks going first. This can kind of bail you out a little bit, get you more cards, maybe get you into that battle VIP pass, double battle VIP pass, you know, and get the ball rolling on your setup. That way you can, on your second turn, start hitting with Chien-Pao. This literally changes everything the way you go first. This basically helps you to go first more. Now, you're not going to use it. You're not going to use this every single time. If you actually have the setup, if you actually have the decent setup, then you may not even want to use it. But this option is there just in case you need it. And like, okay, yeah, I need this. I need to dig a little bit more. Let's go ahead and do it and ditch my hand and get 6 new cards so I can get my setup. So that's what this is all about. Hold on one second. Here we go. Okay. This is Luminion. One copy of Luminion V. You know, I just have one copy, so I'm transferring it between decks here. But Luminion V, you don't know what Luminion V does. All right. Play it down, search your deck for a supporter, add it to your hand. In this deck, since this is a water deck, you could also use Luminion as an attacker. And you could put it back into the deck, and then, after you attack with it, and then you can use it again. You know, which is very, very good. This is the only deck that can actually utilize Luminion V. Oh. One copy of Radiant Greninja, but of course. One copy of Manaphy. Yeah, just one copy, not 2 copies, one copy. Four copies of Irida, because of course. Finding water Pokemon and item cards are very good in this deck. Two copies of Iono. One copy of Boss's Orders. Four copies of Super Energy Retrieval. I don't know what in the world or what compels people to play with only 3 of these. This is how you're getting energies back into your deck. You need to play 4. You have to play 4. This is how you're doing it. Doesn't matter if you have Palkia in the deck or not. You need 4 Super Energy Retrievals. You gotta have 4, especially for a deck that doesn't have Palkia in it. If you don't have Palkia in it, there should be no reason that you're running only 3 of these. Like, I mean, I'm literally watching people on stream getting bodied because they can't find what they need. Like, come on, man. You got to have 4. You've got to have 4. Alright. 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass. 4 copies. You gotta have 4. You want that turn 1 setup automatically. Not only that, this is fodder for discarding with Super Energy Retrieval. So you need something to discard as well. Let's see, where is it? I think it's this one. Alright, 4 copies of Cross Switcher. Cross Switcher, I think, well, Cross Switcher, not only do I think, has been the way that a lot of people are running Chien-Pao now. They're running it before Cross Switcher. So this is across the board, probably the best way to run gusting effects in Chien-Pao. So yeah, so no longer are the days where we're going, like 3 bosses orders or like 4 bosses orders. It's 4 cross switcher and maybe 1 boss. And this, honestly, this allows you to switch out your Pokemon, maybe switch into another Chien-Pao to get energies out of the deck, or switch into the Greninja, and then you maybe canceling Cologne, Manaphy, or something, or whatever, or what have you, or cross switcher up, a Pokemon you want to knock out that's been sitting on the bench, but cross switcher is the way that we're doing gusting in Chien-Pao. Three copies of rare candy, not 2 copies, 3 copies. You've got to have 3 copies, because your opponent, one of their strategies is boss up Excalibur, boss up Excalibur and knock it out. That way you won't, have your acceleration. But, you've got 3 rare candies in here. You can do this, up to 3 times, 2 more times. So, and especially with the 4th Frigibax in here, you're always going to have down the Frigibax. You're always going to have down the second one. So you're always going to be able to go into it and keep the ball rolling. Keep your opponent off of just that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the idea. And with 3 in here, you can possibly just do it, 2 copies of Nest Ball, 2 copies of Ultra Ball, 2 copies of Switch, 1 Lost Vacuum. You've got to have Lost Vacuum in here. I wanted to have, I honestly need to put a Canceling Cologne in here as well. But yeah, I do want Canceling Cologne in this deck as well. But you want Canceling Cologne and Lost Vacuum. You want Canceling Cologne and Lost Vacuum in this deck. You want both. But Lost Vacuum is so good, especially getting rid of Path to the Peak. Path to the Peak hurts this deck a lot more than what you think. I mean, it hurts Chien-Pao, it hurts Greninja. So it hurts pretty bad. And you want to be able to get rid of it. 2 copies of Skater's Part. You gotta have 2 copies. It runs with Chien-Pao so well. It runs with Chien-Pao so well. Being able to return the energies to your hand when you retreat. It's too good. It's too good not to run it too. Don't get me wrong. I also want to run more of Lost City, which is the next stadium we're talking about. But yeah, I want to run more Lost City, but this is really only for like certain matchups, like Lost Box and like Guardy, and where you get it out and you literally remove the Guardy or the Sableye or what have you. But I'd rather have this for everything else, other than, only like this only being used for maybe like two matchups. Now, don't get me wrong. Those 2 matchups, like Gardevoir and Lost Box, you'll see them a lot. You'll see them so much. You'll see them a lot. Because they are literally the best decks. But, there are a lot of other decks out there that you will play against. All the Arceus decks, all the Lugia decks, all the Mew decks, and all the mirror matches. You're going to play against those too. And I'd rather have 2 cards that run consistent with how the deck works, rather than a tech card that's only for like 2 matchups. And 10 water energies. 10 water energies. All right. So that's that, guys, is the video. That's how I'm kind of running Chien-Pao. Like I said, this deck is kind of maximizing consistency. Consistency over little gimmicky text. Yeah, I took out Palkia for the moment, and it's running really, really good. I found that I didn't need Palkia as much as I thought I did. You know, as long as you keep a Baxcalibur and a Frigibax, as long as you keep a Baxcalibur and a Frigibax on the bench, you're always going to be good. 4 super energy retrievals all day. 2/2 Bibarel all day. I'm telling you, like, oh, and Squawkabilly for the first turn. Because other than that, if you don't have that really good opening first turn, and you opt to go second, or I mean now if you lose the coin flip, okay, it can't be helped that you go second. But if you don't have that set up in the beginning, yeah, you're just gonna lose. You're just gonna straight lose, and it's not gonna feel good. So Squawkabilly is really good to help you get that set up. Also, Squawkabilly was actually used, like a pretty, was used actually a lot in the tournaments at NAIC. Squawkabilly was used a lot. So yeah, this card was actually really decent in decks. So yeah, this is valid. This is really valid, and it's solid. So yeah, but I mean, other than that, that's it. All right. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, make sure you take care of yourself and each other. Thank you.